Hi everyone, welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. We're going to start the Sacred Union Energy Update with some astrology for August because August is a huge month, not only because we have the Lionsgate powerful energetic portal that amplifies our collective and individual energy, but we also have a lot of astrological transits that are helping to influence and support our journey, especially for the Sacred Union path of ascension. If you guys missed it, I did experience a extremely powerful personal EFT tapping slash meditation session earlier this week, which I shared in a sacred channeling called Setting the Feminine Free, in which I have a new to me personal spiritual guide that is hopefully going to be coming through in future teachings, or at least, as I'm experiencing things, I will, of course, share as I'm called to with all of you if it is relevant for the collective as a whole. But it is a new to me spiritual guide, the Morrigan. I was just vaguely aware of who the Morrigan was just because I work in a metaphysical shop. I had heard the phrase before or heard the name before, but I had never connected with her. I'd never connected with that energy. During this meditation, I had Kalima with me. Kalima has been a beloved sacred guide for me over the past couple of years, helping me to tap in and connect with my wild feminine or the dark divine feminine within myself. That unapologetic leader, that warrior spirit within me. But as Callie was here on my right side, there was another energy that was coming through that felt similar to Callie, but a little bit deeper, maybe even a little bit darker, and darker as in fiercer, more warrior like, which was surprising to me because I had experienced that with Callie in the past. This felt powerful, sacredly powerful, beautiful, fierce. Uh, Similar to Kelly, there was also a very loving, cherished energy and honoring energy, but it was a demand to be honored. That's what it feels like. It felt like, demand to be honored, demand to be respected. And that is the wild feminine, the sacred dark divine feminine is what we could call it, the sacred feminine in her wholeness, in her glory. She is this warrior energy. We have channeled in the past the energy of the healer warrior. I talk about that in my book, The Unity Code. We have some channelings on that here on my YouTube channel. I'll try to remember to put some links in the description box if you're interested, or you can check out our Ascension Connections portal for all sorts of sacred channelings and deep dives into that. But the healer warrior, you are both. And whether you're a masculine or you're a feminine, you are both. You are both the healer and you are both the warrior. And we tend to think of the warrior as the masculine and the healer as the feminine, and that can be true. With regards to the polarities, with regards to how it's depicted. But as you remember your union, as you remember your wholeness, you understand that you have both energies within you. And the more that you bridge those, the more that you bring those together in that union, you become the healer warrior. And so together, you create that healer warrior template. And so that expresses itself in physical union and physical partnership, which that creates kind of like a cosmic effect. That is a whole new template of relationship, conscious connection, a whole new template for what union truly is. But you experience that first within you, where you recognize yourself as both the healer and the warrior. You are both. And it expresses itself as a divine masculine or a core divine masculine, as a core divine feminine in different ways. For example, if you're an embodied feminine or embodied masculine, it will express itself in your life in various different ways, or show itself in various different ways. But you have both energies within you, and so you are both. And so that's an important distinction as well, and I feel like we're going to tune in more with the Morrigan in upcoming channelings and upcoming teachings as I evolve and continue to grow with this newfound experience, this newfound energy, as I come to understand this journey myself. I always say I'm right there with you guys. I am not teaching anything that I'm not experiencing myself or receiving myself or understanding for myself. And so that channeling was a very raw processing as I was processing in real time. It had just happened, and I was guided to come on and share that with you guys as well. And so it is a very real time processing. I then, if you can hear it in my voice, it was an activation for me, it was an integration. I then spent the next 3 days experiencing a cold, what we would know as a cold, but it felt like a energetic purge of the old energy, old beliefs, old identity, just old version of me. And I give grace to that version of me. I love that version of me. I forgive and hold compassion and so much love for that version of me. I loved that version of me. I've loved all versions of me. We always say you don't know what you don't know. And so you forgive, you hold compassion. But the minute that you become aware of a shift or desire to be someone new, to continue to evolve, to continue to grow, that is when you begin to let go of the old version of you and become someone new. And that moment that your awareness shifts is when you actively work to integrate and embody. And that is the hallmark of our spiritual journey. Our spiritual journey is constant evolution, constant rebirth. And it becomes a natural and organic process once you go through the fires of your own initiation. And we had done a channeling called the holy fire, something like that, with this Neptune energy that came in this year. This is a year of initiation, and we can be either in resistance to it, or we can be in surrender to it. If we're in resistance, it continues karmic cycles, it continues old consciousness loops. If we are in surrender to it, then it brings us into new levels of ourselves, new phases of our journeys, and new understandings and insights of ourselves and our life. And we see that manifest in really beautiful blessings and opportunities in our life. And so, what they're reminding me of is one of the hallmarks of our ascension journey is to know ourselves. When we know ourselves, that's it. That's our ascension journey, is to keep knowing yourself on a deep level. And there is always more to discover. When I had that experience, it was mind blowing for me because I didn't recognize that energy. I should say, I didn't consciously recognize that energy. And it felt familiar. It felt like something I was aware of, but I didn't consciously know who it was. And then I saw a vision of a crow, and in an instant, I'm like, I know who that is. I know who that is. That's the Morrigan. But who is the Morrigan? It's like my soul was remembering, my soul was connecting, but my conscious awareness hadn't put together those pieces of that evolutionary puzzle. And so when I did a little bit of research, I understood that she is a fierce goddess. She is a goddess of sovereignty. She is a goddess of reclamation of your power. And that's exactly why she came in, because that is what we're ready for. We're ready for that shift. We're ready for that transformation, that embodied power, that embodied sovereignty. And um, what they had also brought through was that setting the feminine free. And that's what I have been doing in the meditation and that EFT tapping session, the personal session, was setting the feminine free. It was not something that I had planned on going into. It was something that just, again, kind of happened organically. And as I went to bed that night, I just uh, felt that priestess energy. It felt ancient. It felt like I was calling back lost and forgotten fragments of myself, ancient fragments of myself, ones who had walked in Lemuria and Atlantis, ones who had walked in ancient Europe, which I feel deeply connected to Europe, one that had walked the earth. And it just felt like this priestess energy that I was connecting back to. And that came from a conscious decision, seeds planted long ago, that I no longer wanted to hold myself back. I no longer want to dim my light, and connecting to myself and knowing myself, loving myself so deeply, which comes from connecting to myself, comes from connecting with God, comes from knowing myself, comes from understanding my connection with God, releasing the separation between any of it. That is where I began to claim myself. And this felt like not an initiation, it felt like an integration, it felt like an anchoring in. And so I didn't spend the next 3 days in like this purge with this cold, and I had a fever, and it felt like my body, like that was the fire. It felt like I was burning away any of the excess of the old version of me, burning away any of that old identity, any of the version of me that lived in lack, that lived in scarcity, that lived in fear, that lived in disconnection, that lived in separation. Now, does that mean that I'm not going to experience any regressions? Absolutely not. Does that mean that I'm not going to experience moments where I feel fear, or that I feel lack, or that I feel scarcity? Absolutely not, because I'm human, and we don't bypass the human experience. We accept the human experience as we become more conscious in a bid to continue to evolve and grow in that consciousness. That is our ascension journey. The ascension journey is the embodiment of both. You're bringing those codes down. You're not leveling into ascending out of something. You're not ascending out of your human form. You're recognizing that the kingdom of heaven is and always has been within you. And we're bringing that into our physical experiences, into our physical form now, through our consciousness shift, through this evolutionary shift. So, yeah, it was a very, if you guys can hear it in my voice, I also went through some throat chakra activations. I'm continuing to go through it, so bear with me as I start to lose my voice a little bit. But it has been a huge week to end July and begin August. Remember, if this is a timeless reading, just take the messages as they resonate for you. Disregard the timing and any dates that I give, because the messages will still be resonant. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to look into August energy and do a quick reading on where the energy is to start the month. And we'll come back later this week, especially around the Lionsgate peak portal date, for more energy and information. I might do a sacred channeling, but if you are interested in the manifestation energy of, or the amplifying energy of the Lionsgate, this is a huge transformation portal. I do have a Lionsgate sacred integration workshop that's available to purchase singly, or you can get it as part of the Higher Heart Academy. All of our workshops are housed now in the library of the Higher Heart Academy. So, speaking of the Lionsgate corridor, we are in that stretch now. The energy is amplifying, gaining momentum to peak on 8/8. We talk about the importance of that, the symbolism of August 8th, as well as what that means for your sacred union, for your individual ascension journey, all in that workshop. It's interesting that the Lionsgate is lining up this year, ending the day that Mercury is turning direct. Mercury retrograde is really retrograding this time, isn't it? Mercury is turning direct on August 11th, 12th, and that is when the Lionsgate energy is coming down, is ending. It's kind of like the shadow period. It peaks, or shadow period. It peaks on August 8th, and then it kind of decreases or diminishes a little bit. But remember that all these portal dates, they are just amplified energy. It is your awareness, your consciousness that allows you to step through a portal or a gateway at any time in your life. If you so choose to change your life, if you so choose to change yourself, then the universe supports that. It's just all this cosmic support is amplifying that energy as a means of support. But the universe is always supporting you in your decisions. That is your free will. Um, so Mercury retrograde is totally retrograding. I have experienced a lot of blasts from the past, whether it's friends, whether it is old connections, whether it is people from my past expressing interest, which is blowing my mind. Where have you been the past 20 years? It is crazy. It is Mercury retrograde is truly, truly retrograding. We've had reflections, we've had time to reevaluate. Who are we? Where are we? What's in our hearts? Where are we headed? Where do we want to go? Where are our hearts leading us? And rediscovering ourselves. So take a look back at some of the past Sacred Union energy updates and cosmic support channelings. I have playlists for everything in the channel. Make sure that you are going back through all of our recent videos if you missed anything for more on all of this support to help you. The thing that I wanted to highlight for August, there's a lot of different transits and astrological support that is helping us in August, but the one that I really wanted to highlight was Venus, because Venus is playing a pivotal role, especially when it comes to the love that we have within ourselves, which then reflects in our relationships, our connections, especially with regards to our sacred union ascension journey. Venus is a planet of love, harmony, partnership, romance, beauty, and creativity. And let's think about that for a minute, because creativity is, how are you expressing yourself? And what are you creating? Not just in your life with regards to like art or projects, but in the world. What seeds are you planting? How are you expressing yourself? That's the greater creativity. And I'm actually getting a lot of activation within my sacral chakra, which is the seat of creativity. And so you're being asked, what are you creating? And so this could be a spark of creativity in your life. And spark of creativity is motivation. It's, where are you inspired? And so that could be with art, with writing, with projects, with anything that you're literally creating, if you're building something. Or it could be just, what are you creating for your life? And the same goes for beauty. It's not just beauty as in, who are you and what do you see, but it's, what do you see in the world? How do you see the world? What's the lens through which you see the world? Are you looking at the beauty in the world? Are you seeing the world through the lens of blessings and gratitude and support, which the universe is always doing? Or are you in that lack, that scarcity mindset, and you're looking at the world as ugly, as critical, as judging? Are you judging the world? Are you critical of the world? Which lens are you choosing? And it always becomes a choice. There is nothing in our lives that is not a choice. This is your choice. Which lens do you choose to view it? And I get it because I'm a Libra and I've battled with this my entire life. There are parts of me that views the world as, I feel like very nihilistic sometimes, where it feels helpless and hopeless, and sometimes the world feels so dark and divided and chaotic, and it brings me to tears. And I will, many times in my life, I have found myself crying just for the innocence and the injustice of things. But I also see life through a very optimistic lens and through a very hopeful lens, and a lens that is filled with beauty, because I have seen people coming together even among the division. I have seen purpose even among the pain. I have seen beauty even among the ugliness. And it becomes a choice. Which one do you choose to focus on? And that was a huge lesson for me in my life. You know, if I have the ability to see all these different aspects, which one do I choose to believe in? Which one do I choose to focus on? And that's what Venus is asking of us. What lens are you seeing the world, and what lens are you seeing yourself? And that then reflects to everything. It makes a difference in how it shifts your life. It makes a difference in how it shifts your sacred union, your relationships, and not just your romantic relationships, although Venus is the planet of romance, but in everything. What lens are you choosing to look through? Are you looking through the lens of abundance and beauty and gratitude and gifts and blessings, or are you looking through the lens of lack and scarcity and victimhood? So, the first half of the month, we have Venus in Cancer. And this is going to be a very challenging aspect because it is squaring Neptune and Saturn. And squares are very challenging aspects. And what this is asking us, especially with Saturn and Neptune, is to help release karma and disillusionment. What this is about is getting down to the nitty gritty. What this is about is getting real, real with yourself, real with the universe, real with God, however you want to call it, God, source, the universe, just getting real, getting down to the nitty gritty. What is real? What are you believing in? And is it real? Is the love that you're feeling real? Or is it mixed up in fantasy? Is it mixed up in some sense of illusion? So, the way that you strip away that illusion is you connect with your heart. You release any of that identifying features and you just connect with the energy. And as we've been teaching in my Unity Code Intensive with my one on one clients, as we teach in the Higher Heart Academy, and as we've been sharing here on this channel, the most important thing is to recognize that there is always an undercurrent of energy. There's always an undercurrent of energy, that there is not one thing that is not energy. This universe is made up of energy. And so it might look like one thing on the surface, but you don't have to take that at face value. There's a level of acceptance, yes, but you can help create that change. You yourself have to help to create that change. And that's our collective ascension. When we look at ascension as a whole, even sacred union as a whole, the more of us who are tuned into the higher frequencies of peace and love and who are doing that active healing, who are embodying those tenets of love, who are embodying that Christ consciousness, the more that we are practicing that, putting that into action, embodying those codes, the more we are having the ripple effect to affect change in our collective experience. So we have a level of acceptance of our physical reality because that is a collective manifestation. It's already played out. It's already manifested. Our physical reality is old. It's dense. It's dead. It is old. But it's what do we keep believing in? That's what perpetuates the same reality. And you can see that in your own life. And the way to make a change in your life is to shift your belief about yourself, about what it is that you are experiencing, about your identity, about maybe other people. It is to shift the lens, shift the belief, shift the way you see things, and the things you see will change. Again, that came through in the last reading, and I think it was a lyric, and I can't remember the lyric, but shift the way you see things, and the things that you see will change. So, connecting to what is real, getting down to the nitty gritty. And this plays a part in conscious connections too, because again, stripping away the illusion, stripping away the fantasy, what's real. And for many of us who are coming into physical partnership or having that physical connection or that sacred union in a physical relationship, is asking, is it real or is it built up as fantasy? And so the thing about this is, the thing about conscious relationship is when you're sick, when you are injured, when you are hurting and in pain, are you being able to hold the union with not only yourself but each other? They're calling me to a scene in a movie. It's Ben Affleck. He's at the sink washing dishes. Jennifer, okay, let me figure out what this is. Okay. It's a scene from a rom-com a long time ago. Um he's just not that into you. I think that's what it's called. He's just not that into you. At a whole cast of big names and stuff. And I remember there was one scene that struck out, and this is a scene that they're bringing to me. It was um, Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck, and I think it's Jennifer Aniston and Ben Affleck. I can't remember now. They had been separated. I think they were married and they had been separated or something like that. And Jennifer Aniston's father had a heart attack, and so she went home and you know she's taking care of everything, doing the dishes, making the meals and everything like that, taking care of her father and everything. And there's a moment where she's looking at her. Oh, no, she's not married. She's getting engaged. She wants to get married. She wants to get engaged, everything. But her boyfriend, Ben Affleck, doesn't want to commit. And so they separated, and she is watching her sister's husband just sitting on the couch watching football or something like that. And she hears something in the kitchen and she goes into the kitchen and she sees Ben Affleck's character, her boyfriend, washing the dishes. And there's something very profound about that because it's how you show up. It's not the fantasy of the romance and the dates and the words. It's how are you showing up for each other? Are you present? Are you consistent? Are you showing up when it means something, when it matters? When one or the other needs you to hold space for them, when one or the other are going through a hard time, are you able to show up when you're sick, when you're injured, when somebody that you love is injured? It's the standing the test of time. When you're in your 80s and 90s, going to doctor's visits together. It's the little moments too. It's not just the fantasy of the Hollywood story. It is real. Love is real. Where are you showing up for each other consistently in that state of presence, saying, I've got you, I'm supporting you, not just with words, but with your actions, with your consistent actions? That's the real love. That's the real conscious connection. That's the real conscious relationship. That is, how are you communicating with each other? How are you being vulnerable with each other? How are you being honest with each other? And this energy demands truth. It demands authenticity. It demands vulnerability. It demands being real. real with each other? How are you showing up and showing up consistently? That is true unconditional love. And so that's getting down to the nitty gritty. Again, that's the reason why I just don't like the whole twin flame um, community, to be frank. The whole template as it was, misconstrued in the community. That's why for so long I denied the twin flame label. It is just a label. Twin flame is a very, it's a distinct energy, but twin flame as a label has gotten very corrupted. It is a very distinct energy. It is a very true experience and a very true journey. But like I say in my book, The Unity Code, we are literally rewriting that twin flame template for a reason, because we are coming back to what twin flame sacred union truly is. Sacred union are coming together in that union and sustaining that in true unconditional love. And true unconditional love is sacred, and holding each other in that sacredness, accepting each other, loving each other, and honoring each other in that sacredness. Acceptance does not mean tolerating toxic behavior or poor behavior. It means challenging each other. It means holding yourselves to those higher standards, challenging each other to those higher standards, because you see the truth of what is possible. You see the truth of what is real. Again, getting back to the nitty gritty of what is real. And so this might be a little bit of a challenging aspect, because it is asking us to release the karma, release the old, release the fantasy, and get back to what is real. And for some, it might be asking yourself what you want. Is it real? Is it true? Being radically honest about what it is that you want in a sacred partnership, what it is that you want in a physical relationship with a physical partner. So if you want one-on-one support, I have guidance sessions that are available. I also have readings available just for the end, until the end of this week, for the Lionsgate. And I always have spots available in my Unity Code Intensive. Okay, next on August 12th, we have Venus conjuncts Jupiter in Gemini. So Jupiter is a planet of luck, prosperity, and most importantly, expansion. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. It's a very blessed planet. It's a very blessed placement. Gemini, as we talked about in a recent channeling, I think that was the Template of Love channeling. This is all about communication. No more proving. This is about embodiment. No more proving, no trying to convince, no trying to force or manipulate. This is just about embodiment. So this is also about belief in what's possible. There might be fresh connection if you're meeting somebody new, or a refreshed connection, renewed connection if this is somebody coming back from the past. Allow for the space, allow for the possibility of both. Also allow for playfulness, lightness, and a lot of truth and vulnerability to come through, but in a very playful, lighthearted energy, because that again is the expansive energy of Jupiter. Everything also feels divinely timed. How are you going to show up? Then we're moving into the second half of the month, where Venus is moving into Leo. This is an opposition with Pluto. Pluto is the planet of the underworld. It's all about what's hidden coming to the surface, coming to light. What's been hidden being revealed. Is about transformation. In the sign of Leo, the phrase that I channeled was firecracker. Leo is a very firecracker kind of energy. It is bold, it's assertive, and it's proud. Not proud as in ego, although that could be the distorted lens. If you get too much in your ego, that's pride. Or if you get too much in your pride, that's ego, right? But proud, be proud. Like when we say be proud of your accomplishments, be proud of how far you've come, like that is something that is sacred. There is a sacred pride. Just like with anger, there's a distorted toxic lens, or there is a sacred rage, which is a righteousness. It moves mountains. So too is there with pride. So just be aware of the balance. When we're talking about pride here, or being proud here, this is about how are you showing up? Are you showing up in your sovereignty? Are you showing up in your personal power? Being proud of who you are and presenting yourself as that. Presenting yourself as worthy is what they're saying. So this is the I am love. This is how I love. And if you don't like it, you don't have to not like it. You don't have to take it. There's the door. That kind of energy. That's this firecracker Leo energy. And some of you who have been moving through this healing, this inner work, this inner journey, who are very sensitive to the energies, you might already be feeling this. So this is the take it or leave it. I don't dim my light for anybody. If you don't like it, then we're just not on the same frequency. I love you. I bless you. I send you on your way. That kind of thing. It's just we're not vibing. We're just not in the same frequency, and that's okay. It's okay. It is okay. It doesn't mean anything about the other person. It doesn't mean anything about you. It is all just energy. It is all just frequency. But the most important thing is that you're not dimming your light to hold on, especially the past. And that's where the first part of August will be some of that clearing out the disillusionment, clearing out the karma. So, not dimming your light or your love for anyone. With this Pluto opposition, it can be a little bit explosive. And there's also some Mars transits that's happening here, especially Mars with Libra, which can play a part in our connections and a relationship dynamic. So just be aware that it can be a little bit explosive, but explosions can lead to expansions as long as it's not held in toxicity. Toxicity, not good. Explosions, expansion can be good. So just be aware of the energy that is encapsulating all of this. With Pluto, there is no going back to who you were or the way that things were, and it's not supposed to. So, all this energy is all about moving forward in a bold way. New energy, new dynamic, new relationship and connection, and new you. So, all of this is leading to this forward momentum, especially as Mercury's going direct, and all these planets over the next several weeks and months are going to be going direct as well. We have 4 or 5 planets in retrograde. Chiron has just gone retrograde. Chiron is the wounded healer. That's going to be retrograde until January 2026, this coming January. So, this is the time. This is the portal. This is the choice point. And I know we say that all the time, but again, there are always portals that are opening up. But this is your decision maker of who do you want to be, because this energy is it's not going back to the way things were. And we can literally see this in our global collective, especially speaking as, part of the United States. Especially in the United States, we're seeing this, there is a dismantling that's happening, not going back to the way things were. But with Pluto in the age of Aquarius, what that's going to mean is new innovation, new ways of doing things, new ways of connecting. You can apply that to your sacred union journey. New. Maybe this is a new person, new connection. Maybe this is an old person, but a new way of experiencing each other because of your shift in consciousness, because of your transformation. So it's going to play out in a number of different ways. If you would like specific support, reach out to me for your one-on-one guidance session, to be part of the Unity Code Intensive, or for a personal reading that are available this week only. August, again, is all about transformation within the self and with our unions. And as it plays out in our individual journeys, it also plays out in the global collective. There is not one part of us, of all of it, that is separate. There is not one thing that is separate. As we heal ourselves, we help to heal the world collectively. And the more of us that are doing that inner work, the more we are changing the world. It does not happen individually. It does not happen by just one person. It happens by all of us. And the more that we shift, that has a ripple effect on the energy of everyone around us, that catalyzes, that transforms, and that ripples out. So, August is all about evolving into a higher octave of love. And this is a choice point. Are you going to continue to evolve into that higher octave of love and energy? Or are you going to continue in a new journey? And this is especially important for sacred unions. For some, and I'm really speaking for divine masculines who maybe are not doing that inner work, who just through their own free will have continued in cycles. You can choose to continue moving and evolving into a higher version of yourself, and thus a higher version, evolution of love, or you can continue on your own individual journey with regards to your own growth, your own whatever. But there's going to be cycles that repeat, and again, that's the choice point. But this is all about collapse or calibration. For the divine feminines, what this means for you is you are primed for union. You are meant for union. And if you've been doing that inner work, union is meant for you. And so this is where you might have a new sacred partner, soulmate, divine counterpart come through. If that other person maybe was a catalyst connection. Even if they were your twin flame or are your twin flame, you can still hold that they are your twin flame, but maybe they're not a life partner, or maybe they're not part of your journey now. And if that triggers you, I encourage you to read my book, The Unity Code, to understand that. I have a workshop in the Higher Heart Academy called The Soulmate Path to kind of put that into perspective and understanding. And we talk a lot about that on the channel in some previous sacred channelings. Just reach out to me also for your one-to-one session to help guide you through what you're specifically going through. This is a collective energy update. This is a collective channeling, so everybody's situation is different. I have some clients who are experiencing new connections with soulmates, with other divine counterparts. Maybe their original was a catalyst and they're experiencing divine counterpart. Some, they had a twin flame and it is their twin flame, but that twin flame is not evolving, and so they're meeting a divine counterpart. For others, it is their person who was a catalyst and activated their journey, who are their twin flame, that is moving into the next level and growing with them and evolving into a higher level love with them. So everybody's on a little bit of a different path. Everybody's experiencing this in a little bit of a different way. Do not let that throw you. And if it's continuing to trigger you, keep asking yourself why. Keep doing that inner work. Keep seeing where you're creating separation within yourself by attaching to the labels. Love is love. Love is love, and you are meant for love. You are love. Do not forget that you are love and you are worthy of love. And if you hold the desire for sacred union, and especially in physical relationship, if you hold that desire, you are meant for it. So the last thing that I want to say before we get to the reading today is that I had channeled before, as I was wrapping this up, I channeled a song. It's Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. And the specific lyric that they gave me was, yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. The message I was also getting was all roads converge. So all roads will converge to your sacred union. But release the expectation. Release the old template of maybe what the twin flame community is saying it has to be. You are creating your own blueprint. That's what we teach here. You are writing your story. You are creating your own blueprint. Yes, we have collective energies. Yes, we have, very similar experiences, but don't compare yourself to anybody else's path. Those the community can bring a lot of clarity as far as what we're experiencing, but at this level, what I call the higher heart ascension, it is about you recognizing your personal power, you trusting your intuition and your creation energy, you recognizing that you're worthy of love, that you are meant for love, that union is and always has been a part of you, and you are meant for union. You are meant to experience that as a living experience, because this ascension journey is not just something that is experienced in the higher realms. It's not just experienced when you're in meditation, when you're sitting on a mountaintop, when you're sitting in the middle of the woods. Your spiritual ascension journey is meant to be practiced in everyday life, is meant to be embodied, is meant to be a physical human experience. Family, partnership, business. I experience so much through my business. I experience so much through my family, through my friends, and especially through the sacred union energy. But sacred union, just like twin flame, is an energy that moves through everything. And so look at it through that lens and begin to see union in everything. Move out of the lack, move out of the scarcity, move out of the victimhood, and move into the abundance, move into the lens of love, and seeing through that lens of love, because that is the path. And the minute that you choose your path, the minute that you choose that path, the minute everything begins to change. Okay, so it is a big month. Again, I have a lot of opportunities for support. I have one-on-one personal intuitive readings available for this Lionsgate energy. I have one-to-one guidance sessions, single sessions. I have the Higher Heart Academy, which is a self-paced self-study with additional mentoring and coaching opportunities within our Higher Heart alignment calls. And I have the one-on-one intensive, which we go deep dive. You have all access to me all the time for anything that you're experiencing, plus a lot of other opportunities for your transformation, your complete embodiment. So make sure that you're checking out Seasoned on Spiritual for all the programs, all the offerings, and reach out to me if you have any questions. And let's get into the reading. And welcome back to part 2 of our Sacred Union Energy Update. Make sure that you don't miss the channeling because all of that information is going to be additional support for your journey, for your Sacred Union Ascension. Remember, it's not just for a relationship. It's not just with regards to your counterpart. It is also especially for you. That is the most important part of your Sacred Union journey because your relationship, your conscious connections, your twin flame relationship is a reflection of you. Everything is a reflection of you. So I got guided to use this Angels of Atlantis Oracle deck. I have not used this in a while. So we're going to see what comes through here. Remember to take this for your own individual journey, your sacred union with your counterpart, and for your union as a whole. If you look at it through that lens of your individual journey, your sacred union, and for the global collective, it just puts everything into perspective. So let's take a look at what's going on for the Divine Masculine, whether this is your counterpart or this is the Divine Masculine from a global perspective or within yourself. What's going on for the Divine Masculine, please? What's going on for the Divine Masculine? Okay. Wow. Archangel Sandalphon, love. And this is a very grounded love. Sandalphon is someone who really works within the earth plane. Oh, and Metatron, bringing through wisdom. Yeah. What I like about these two archangels coming through here is as above, so below is what immediately I'm getting. So Archangel Sandalphon works within the earth plane, but so does Metatron. Metatron is able to bring through all of that higher energy into our physical world, into our physical being. And so as above, so below is immediately what I'm getting. And this is the balance, especially if the Divine Masculine is beginning to see wisdom in love and loving, the wisdom that comes from love and loving, and conversely, also beginning to understand that there is love in wisdom. So what I'm getting from this is the connection between the higher mind and the higher heart, where they're seeing that the masculine being of the higher mind, working very closely with logic and practicality and the thinking, which is beautiful. We need that. We need that in this world. I tend to focus more on the divine feminine, being a divine feminine, but there is such beauty in the divine masculine, in the conscious masculine, the embodied presence of the conscious masculine. And so when they begin to realize that the two operate and balance, this is a powerhouse of an energy. And I feel like this divine masculine is beginning to recognize that, is beginning to understand themselves in that, beginning to see there is wisdom in partnership, there is wisdom in relationship, there is wisdom in love and keeping that open heart, opening the heart, following the heart. And that is truly where great wisdom comes from opening the heart, keeping the heart open, and leading with the heart. And immediately what they're bringing through is King Arthur. King Arthur being a archetype of that divine masculine energy, the sacred masculine. They're calling me back to my time in Glastonbury where I connected with the sacred masculine. It was very present. It was a very fierce energy, a stable energy. Fierce is not the right word. A very stable energy, a very warrior-like energy. Not warrior as in ego, not warrior as in aggressive, not warrior as in let me fight, not warrior as in toxic. This warrior is somebody who, what they're showing me is a man in a suit of armor, but his face is revealed. So the mask is off. Somebody who is showing their true self, somebody who is showing up, somebody who is letting their actions lead, letting their actions prove themselves, letting their actions say, yeah, I am worthy. I know that I'm worthy, and here's how I know that I'm worthy. So it's action speaking louder is what they're getting at, to simplify that. Action speaking louder. Words matter. Communication matters because communication is how we understand one another. It is how we grow in intimacy, vulnerability, and trust. And that is a foundation for conscious connections, both with ourselves and with other people. And so when we are honest with ourselves, truthful with ourselves, when we are vulnerable with ourselves, that's how we know ourselves on a deep level. And that's how we're able to open up to other people and have those bonds that as humans, as souls, we truly desire, crave, want, that we are meant for. We as humans, as souls, And I'm saying as both because they're bringing me both. I keep wanting to say humans, and they're saying, no, as a soul, you are meant for connection. As a soul, you have a relationship with everything around you, the whole living universe. And so, as a soul, you are connected to everything around you in that energy of love. And so, the more that you are connecting to yourself, the more you're connecting to that universal energy, and that connects you to each other. And so, the more that you are, that suit of armor isn't a guard. That suit of armor isn't a shield. That suit of armor is just a it's not even a suit of armor is what they're showing me. They're showing me it fading away. It's not even needed anymore. It's not even needed. But they're showing me that warrior template, and that's why he's wearing the suit of armor. He's the warrior, and he shows up. He leads. He leads himself. He has a sense of direction. He has a sense of purpose. And if he has not found that within himself, he goes out and he explores that. He finds that. He discovers that within himself. That is the wisdom of the heart. And so I feel like this masculine is going through perhaps a little bit of a dark night, but this masculine is going through a deep dive of inner discovery. And this feels like an anchoring in. This feels like an integration. This feels like an initiation for them. Let's see what's going on for the divine feminine. There's something here also about the Sphinx. The Sphinx showing up on this card. I feel like where they had been puzzled, where they had been, I forgive these phrases, this is what they're giving me, where they had been riddled with perhaps, okay, I'm getting two messages, where they had been perplexed with regards to the direction of their life purpose, their service, their mission, where they had been lacking in direction, lacking within themselves, who they are. What do I do? Who am I? Where's my place in the universe? Where they have been asking those questions, there is clarity that's coming. There's wisdom that's coming. The other message that I was getting was where they have been riddled with shame, guilt, feelings of lack of self-worth, feelings of lack and scarcity as a whole, where they have been riddled with those lower density energies. This is where they gain that wisdom to love themselves and overcome it, to believe in themselves and overcome it. And that is where they become the warrior. That's where this initiation is. That's where this choice point is that we were channeling. Yes, there are two roads you can go by in the long run. There's still time to change the road you're on. There's still time to choose who do you want to be. This is all that energy, that choice point energy. And again, there's always a choice point. There is never a time on your path where you will not be able to pivot. There will never be a point where you are completely lost, ever, ever. Ever. There will never be a point where you can say, I'm a lost cause. Ever. That is just your own victimhood. That is on your own scarcity, your own lack mindset. The minute that you choose better for yourself is the minute the universe, number one, applauds you. The minute your soul is ignited. And the minute the universe is saying, I got you back. I got your back. I support you. I've always supported you. I have never left you. I have never left you because the universe never leaves you. I remember there was a time when I felt that way, when I was sick with Lyme disease. I felt completely abandoned by God, and my connection with God was completely fragmented. And I used to cry and scream and wail in my journals and say, I don't get it. I don't get it. Because I felt like I said to God, I said, I've been a good person my whole life. I don't get it. Why have I felt this betrayed? Why have I felt this? Why do I feel this forsaken? And there was a moment in the dead of night that God said to me, I never forgot you. I have always been there. God is always there. God is always there. And if you look through that lens of love, you will see that how much support that you have. Maybe it shows up in just a stranger, giving you a pat on the back or a smile. Maybe it shows up in loved ones who answer your calls in the middle of the night. Maybe it shows up in a thousand of different ways. Maybe it shows up in an animal who crosses your path. The universe has never forsaken you. It was your own mindset, your own beliefs that made you think that created separation within yourself. And that's ultimately what we're healing. And that is the core and the crux not only of our ascension journey, but of this time and space. This is the choice point. This is it, right here, right now. And again, I know we said that before, but it continues to grow. That momentum continues to grow. Every point becomes a choice point where you get to pivot. And the minute that you make that choice of, you know what, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to look at myself like that. I don't want to look at the world like that. I don't want to look at the masculine or the feminine like that. I don't want to create this war within myself. I don't want to see war in the world. The minute that you want that change and create that spark within yourself is the minute that the world or the universe continues to meet you, rises up to meet you and says, we've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you to recognize yourself. We've been waiting for you to recognize your heart. We've been waiting for you to recognize your very soul, yourself. We've been waiting. And so I feel like that's where this masculine is, whether this is the masculine within yourself, whether this is a conscious masculine, or whether this is the masculine within the global collective. This is the changing point, the pivot point. Let's see what's going on for the divine feminine. That's too many. What do we need to know for the divine feminine, please? Ecstasy. We have Zadkiel. I'm not actually familiar with that archangel, so I might get the book and just take a quick look. Let me actually do that because I'm called to that. But we have the card Ecstasy for the divine feminine, and what I feel is just this expansion. Divine feminine, this feels like that Jupiter energy is what I'm getting. This feels like expansion. This feels like prosperity. This feels like luck. This also feels like sovereignty, reclamation of that power. So I really encourage you guys to check out that Setting the Feminine Free. I might actually do a meditation on that. That'll either be in this week's, oh, is it this week? Yeah, I think we have a Sacred Circle live stream this week. So we might do a meditation if you'd like to join us in the live stream in the Sacred Circle community. I think we might do a meditation similar to what I experienced with the Morrigan on setting the feminine free. So feel free to sign up and join us. Interesting. Okay. Zadkiel is called the Sacred Lover. Zadkiel is... ecstasy. Wishes you to know that divine ecstasy may come in any moment as a deep feeling of passion for your spiritual growth or as an aspect of your love whereby your whole being is transfixed with the choice you have made to join the mystical pathway. Again, this is like the initiations we've experienced. This is that expansion. The two gatekeepers on this path are awe and joy. And what have we been saying for you, Divine Feminine, for the last couple of months, for the last couple of years? Focus on your joy. Focus on your life. Because abundance creates more abundance. Love creates more love. Joy creates more joy. If you're focused on the lack, especially if like you're feeling lack with regards to your divine masculine or your sacred union, keep focusing on the sacred union within you. Nurture that sacred union within you. Your outside physical world is merely a reflection of the beliefs and the energy that you're holding within. They give our higher self information about a choice we need to make or how to open vistas of consciousness about our existence. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because I feel like we got the message. Again, this just feels like expansion. Keep that expansion within your journey, within yourself. Don't keep tuned into the lack. Don't look at the physical as evidence. The physical is actually what you've already created. It's what you've already created. It's what you've already manifested. So keep nurturing the energy of those seeds of creation. You know, there are tools, but the most important thing is your energy. The most important thing is your frequency, your beliefs, your mindset, how you see yourself, how you see the world. That's the most important thing, is the embodiment. So, expansion. We also have forgiveness here. I'm going to take that as well. That might be key to your expansion, is forgiveness within yourself or for another. And keep nurturing that as well. Okay, anything else we need to know for the union? What do we need to know for the union? What do we need to know for the union? Trust. Uriel. We have talked about this in the past. It's important to trust each other. That is the foundation, and giving each other grace. That is the foundation for sacred union. Whether this is somebody new, whether this is a connection that is coming back around, if you have a history with each other, it is about allowing the past to be in the past, forgiving that, um, being accountable. That's the most important part, is to be accountable, because accountability and self-responsibility is awareness. It is a higher level of consciousness. But allowing yourself to rebuild that trust is the foundation for new beginnings. Allowing yourself to give grace to each other is the foundation for conscious connection, for conscious relationship. And in order to have that conscious relationship, you have to set the foundation in the energy of trust and continue to build on that trust through intimacy, through vulnerability, through accountability, self responsibility, and awareness and grace. Okay, let's see what's going on a deeper level. All right, what's going on for the Divine Masculine? We have the Ten of Cups and the Eight of Wands. I feel like this came out in the recent Sacred Union energy update, so we are definitely piggybacking on all of this energy, and all of my readings tend to be evolutionary. They tend to be continuance. Because this is an evolutionary journey. So this Ten of Cups and the Eight of Wands, the Ten of Cups feels like the vision that they're holding and what they want to work forward towards. Now, let me put that in a way that is actually grammatically sound. Let me put that in words, Susan. This Ten of Cups is like the vision that they're holding, the fantasy that they're holding, but not fantasy as in Neptune energy. Or at the very least, if they're holding it in fantasy, this August energy is going to strip away any of the fantasy and make it become real. To make it become, okay, you held a vision, you held a fantasy, but what is going to be true? What is going to be real when you get down to actually having relationship, actually having family, actually having the life that you dream of? It can't just be held in fantasy. It also takes action. It also takes putting the effort. It also takes work in some respects. And so it's going to strip away the fantasy and make it real. And sometimes real, I'm getting like a cold shower kind of energy. Real can be like a cold shower, can be like cold water being poured on you if you've been living in that fantasy. But that's where love is. Love is not just in the fantasy. Love is bringing those codes down, those visions down, and making them reality. And so that's the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is forward momentum, forward movement. Eight of Wands is communication. It is bridging the distance. And for some, it's actually a physical distance, so like travel or something like that. But it is movement. It is all movement forward. And that's what's required to bring it from the Ten of Cups to the Ten of Pentacles. What's holding them back? What's keeping them in this fantasy? Let me ask that question. What's holding them back? What's holding them back and keeping them in this fantasy? The Hanged Man and the Eight of Swords, just themselves. They're keeping themselves stuck. They're keeping themselves stuck. There's literally nobody else. It's just a fear, keeping themselves tied up. And it does feel like it's a fear of their past. For some, it could be that they've been stuck for so long that they don't know how to make a change. I like how he's kind of doing like a yoga pose here, right? Because it's like all you have to do is get out of that yoga pose. But if you've been in that position for so long, maybe your body aches. Maybe it's painful. But it's more painful to stay in that position because the blood all, goes to your head. There's no circulation, all that stuff. And your body becomes stiff and sore. It's more painful to stay in this position. It might be temporarily painful to see yourself. It might be temporarily painful to start making those changes for a better you, better life. But that's what's required because it's only you that's keeping yourself stuck in these cycles. Okay. And indecision as well. Being indecisive. And this comes from overthinking. That's part of the Eight of Wands, the Eight of Swords energy. Overthinking. You see how she has a blindfold on and the bow and arrow? This is giving me the energy of beginning to trust yourself. Beginning to trust what you've been through, beginning to trust your heart. And that's where the balance they're saying of the wisdom of the mind and heart come in, of the wisdom and love come in, that balance, that harmony of the two come in. You know, you've been through your initiations, you've been through the fire, you know what is required, you know what it takes to hit the mark. This card is giving me an energy of somebody who is almost like an expert in their field. Like, you're an expert in your life. You know, as you connect to yourself, you know yourself better than anybody. You know what is required of you. You know what you want. You know what you need. You know what you need to do. You know what actions to take. You know what you're capable of. You know how you can expand. You're the only expert of you. And so this is where you begin to trust that. This is where you begin to trust yourself, and this is where you take leadership of your life and of yourself. And so it's giving me like Katniss in the Hunger Games. She can just shoot that bow and arrow and hit that mark every time. It's because she trusts herself. She believes in herself. It's like second nature. It's like, what's that saying? It's like cell memory. You do a movement so many times. They do this in sports. That's why visualization techniques in sports is so important. For like gymnasts, or making a basket in basketball. I'm watching One Tree Hill, so it's all about basketball right now. Or like anything, even playing the scales on the piano. The reason why you do that is because it's like cellular memory. You get, the muscle movement, muscle memory. That's what it's called, muscle memory. But in this case, it's cellular memory. You know who you are. You know what you're actually capable of. It's just yourself and overthinking that's holding it back. And so with Katniss, for example, this card here, it's, she has been, shooting that bow and arrow for so long. She just trusts herself. She knows she's going to hit the mark every time because it's in her muscle memory. It's in her cellular memory. Well, same goes for you. It's in your cellular memory. It's in your muscle memory. You know what you're capable of. You know what you can do. You know what the next step is. You're just holding yourself back by overthinking and being in that indecision. Okay. What do we need to know for the masculine when it comes to the divine feminine? What do we need to know for the masculine when it comes to the divine feminine? Or let's put it this way. What does the divine masculine want the divine feminine to know? What does the divine masculine want the divine feminine to know? Queen of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, and the Star. I feel like, okay, he has this like shit-eating grin on his face, this like smirk, because here she is. She's just kind of like going her own way. She's on her journey. She is sovereign. She is, in her power. She is at peace. She knows where she's going. This is her in her union, her inner masculine, being guided by her inner feminine. She knows where she's going, and she's like, there's a part of her that's like, I'm alone, and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm alone, I'm okay, because I'm gonna get where I need to go, and my masculine is gonna meet me there. Well, here the masculine is like, yeah, exactly. Like that's the shit-eating grin. That's the smirk. Like, yeah, you don't see me, but I'm here. You don't see me on the path, but I am with you on the path. Just because you can't see me doesn't mean it's not true. So don't look to the physical, divine feminine. That's the message for you. Keep on your journey. Keep following your peace, because this is calmer waters, and the masculine is, he has that collection of bow and arrows. He's going to hit his mark. And as long as you're trusting your energy, divine feminine, tune into the energy. As you connect back with your masculine, or as you meet somebody new, tune into the energy. You can trust your energy, divine feminine, and so you can trust what you're experiencing when it comes to your intuition and what your intuition is telling you about this connection. If it's still toxic, you don't have to engage with it. If it's still toxic, you don't have to accept it. If it feels different, if it feels true, and you want to explore that, you can trust that. You can trust yourself now. You do not have to repeat the past. You are not that past version of yourself, divine feminine. You do not have to repeat the past. That is what your divine masculine is saying. He is saying, you're on your path. I see you. I see you. And I am too. You can trust this. We also have the Star and the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles has come out a lot for the divine masculine in recent readings, previous readings, and this is who you are to the divine masculine, divine feminine. You are somebody who is grounded, somebody who is stable, somebody who is their peace, somebody who is their home, somebody who has a lot to offer. Queen of Pentacles, like the King of Pentacles, is my favorite of the suits because it doesn't negate, emotion and love, compassion, like the Queen of Cups. It doesn't negate the fiery motivation and inspiration energy of the Queen of Wands. It doesn't negate the expressive energy and boundary holding of the Queen of Swords. She encapsulates almost all of it, but in a very grounded way. And that grounded way is very much an anchor for the divine masculine. Not an anchor as in ball and chain, not holding your back, but an anchor as in somebody who is peace in their lives. And that's where you are the star for them. That's where you are every wish for them. And so I feel like keep being on your path, divine feminine, because I feel like this masculine is like, I'm going to meet you there. I'm going to meet you there. There's something else with this Six of Swords. Oh, okay, that's it. I was going to say there's something else. It's a Chariot. This is the masculine catching up. He has to find his balance. He has to find his own destiny. He has to find his purpose and his place first. But this is him catching up. Divine Feminine, what do we need to know for you? What's going on for your journey, Divine Feminine? Three of Wands, Four of Pentacles, and the Ace of Pentacles. Divine Feminine, I feel like you're not in a standstill as in the Hanged Man, but you're in a little bit of a pause. It might feel like rest. It doesn't feel like a void. There's still movement. There's still energy. Maybe this is an integration period like I experienced with my cold. I slept for 3 days. I had a fever for 3 days, and I just slept, and it felt so good. It wasn't the break that I had in June, which was, a true fun break. I was socializing, I was still doing stuff. This was kind of just like, spending time literally in my room with myself, with my animals, who were keeping me company, but just sleeping, spending time with myself, spending time with God, and when I wasn't sleeping, I was either watching TV and getting a lot of downloads from that, or I was listening to music and getting a lot of downloads from that, or I was in communion with God and the universe and my spirit team, and just integrating everything that I was experiencing and had been experiencing. And that's what this feels like, especially with the Four of Pentacles. This Four of Pentacles is giving me a Four of Swords energy. Four of Pentacles is typically an energy of holding yourself back, but this doesn't feel like holding yourself back. It doesn't feel like being withdrawn. It just feels like taking a step back. That's why it feels like Four of Swords energy. It feels like rest. It feels like recuperation. It feels like integration as this sunflower is blooming, as this new beginning is beginning to bloom and blossom. It's not even just a seed anymore. You are seeing the fruits of that. You are seeing the shoots come up. You are seeing the flower blossom. So, and especially with the Three of Wands, you see how he's just kind of sitting back? You've made the choice. You have chosen the path that you want, and now it's just, letting it unfold. Taking that action as you're guided to take, resting as you're guided to rest, and just letting it unfold, letting that new beginning come into your physical reality. And with the Ace of Swords, I do feel like the more that you are in this energy of allowing, because that's what this is, it's allowing. You're not forcing anything. You're not trying to move anything. You're not trying to hustle anything or hustle or force any, I don't know how to say this. You're not trying. That's it, period. You're not trying so hard. You don't have to try so hard. That's the Colby Calais song. You don't have to try so hard. That's you being in your receptive energy, Divine Feminine. You have done the work. You planted the seeds. And now you're taking that intuitive action when you're called to, and also resting and receiving when you're called to. That's your inner union. That's the balance. And that is what is making everything move very fast. That's what's letting the energy move. You don't have to try so hard. What did we ask here? What's blocking? So what might be blocking you, Divine Feminine? What might be holding you back? If there is anything holding you back, what might be holding you back? What might be holding you back, Divine Feminine? What might be holding you back? We have the Page of Pentacles and the Temperance card. Just finding your footing and finding your balance, Divine Feminine, is what I'm feeling. Temperance is all about moderation, all about the balance, all about the harmony of the two polarities. So with regards to your inner union, you might still be balancing out your masculine and your feminine, learning to trust in your inner masculine, providing that container of safety and security for you so you can take action to be able to hold that space for your feminine energy, for your feminine intuition. So you might still be balancing that out, Divine Feminine. Interesting, because that's, mirroring the Divine Masculine and what they're experiencing too, in a way. Different ways, different, experiences. But it is a mirror here. And with the Page of Pentacles, this is also about allowing yourself to be at the beginning again. Allowing it to be a beginning again is what I'm getting. Pages are beginnings. Letting yourself learn, letting yourself grow, letting yourself continue to evolve. I like how this Page of Pentacles is very like, he's just like relaxing, right? And that's what I feel like. It's just just relax. It's coming towards you. Pages also have offers. And so, as opportunities come towards you, opportunities to start something new. This could be a connection. This could be something in your business. This could be a new project, something with work. This could be new soul connections. It's beginnings. Letting beginnings come in and trusting your inner union, trusting the balance within yourself when it comes to moving forward with those opportunities, with those offers, with those new beginnings, okay? So what might be holding you back is just trust, trusting your own inner union. How do you feel about the masculine, or what is it that you want to say about the masculine? What do you need to say about the masculine, Divine Feminine? What do you need to say about the masculine, Divine Feminine? Nine of Swords and the Nine of Cups. Wow, this is a huge juxtaposition here. And there's that Four of Swords energy too. The Nine of Swords almost competing with the Nine of Cups. So let me explain these two energies and these two cards. The Nine of Swords is sleepless nights, anxiety, a lot of fear, especially around the future, especially around what's happening, what's to come, what you're creating, especially around your union, your connection. The Nine of Cups is very self-assured. You know what you're creating. You are manifesting your desires, creating your desires. The Nine of Cups is, your wishes beginning to come true. Divine Feminines, you're in competition with yourself. When it comes to your Divine Masculine, you might be, in a place of, how do I say this? You might be in a place of creating your own self-fulfilling prophecy, self-sabotaging what you know in your heart is true. Don't look back at the past. Don't keep looking at the evidence. Don't keep looking for your masculine. Be in this energy. Just know where you're headed. Just keep following your peace, following your joy, loving your life, because your life is so abundant. Your life is so filled and expansive. Keep in that energy, because that's where your sacred union is. That's where your sacred union is, whether it is with an old counterpart or whether it's with somebody new, or whether it is revisiting a counterpart connection. This is your union. And so don't be in the energy of lack and fear and scarcity and anxiety. Be in this energy of, all my wishes are coming true. Of course it is. Of course it is. Because that's this energy of me. That's this expansive energy that I'm in. That's what I'm believing. That's what I'm choosing to focus on. Keep being in that energy of expansion, Divine Feminine, because that is how you create your union in the physical. That's how you anchor it into the physical. Anything else, Divine Feminine, that you need to know with regards to the masculine? Anything else, Divine Feminine? Anything else? We have the Ace of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Yeah. Ace of Cups is that new beginning in love, romance, partnership, just love as a whole. And there it is. That's the pearl in the oyster shell. This is what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for the conscious masculine. And so you'll know it when it arrives. You'll know it by the energy that they're bringing. It's not just words, it's not even just actions. It is the energy of the divine masculine that they're holding. And divine feminines, you are worthy of this. Divine masculines, you are worthy of being this. It's just you have to trust yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And you have to believe in love. You have to believe in this. You have to believe in your sacred union. Six of Wands is a card of victory, success. You have to believe in your sacred union. All right, that is going to be it for our Sacred Union energy update. We will have one later this week with regards to the Lionsgate, so a special Sacred Union energy update coming up. I'm debating on whether or not I want to do a live stream on August 8th, so let me know if you guys are interested in that. Still debating on whether or not I want to do that. If you would like, I do have personal readings available until this weekend, this coming weekend, at the end of the Lionsgate for your specific journey or your connection. I also have spiritual guidance sessions or slots in the Unity Code Intensive for those who are interested in working one-on-one with me. I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon.